I've got about 30 years experience in the construction industry, with a lot of experience in the commercial and residential sectors. I'm a qualified project manager, construction estimator, and a licensed building practitioner, and we are members of the Association of Professional Builders. With our own construction companies in South Africa, America, and now in New Zealand. So we wear a lot of hats, and that's where we bring a lot of experience and benefit to our clients, because I can look at a project intelligently, from the design to the pricing to the building and managing phases of the whole project. My passion has always been in the residential sector, and especially renovations and extensions. I don't building new homes. It's in New Zealand, and especially in Auckland, I feel is a bit of a race to the bottom with a lot of the builders' prices. So our niche and where we specialize is in designing, renovating, extensions, and then obviously the build of the project. So we focus on more larger and complex projects, particularly those where we can be involved from the get-go with our clients, where we help them with the designs, and with the tools available now. You know, when we help our clients, we try to think out of the box and use some of the tools to give them 3D renders of the designs. Now, it's not necessarily stuff that when we do a quick cosmetic renovation that you would use, but more when you consider doing extensions and or add property on the back. So when we design, there's three main things that we try to focus on. First is the aesthetic outcome. Second is functionality, and then third is budget. So how do we design? We design to achieve the best aesthetic results. So it's got to look good. It's got to look pretty, not just a thing that's slapped on the back. Functionality, it's got to flow. There's got to be a flow and functional, you know, good functionality to it. And then we design to your budget, and we can achieve that by using the right type of materials, and a lot of that goes into the, you know, with the design. So you design to your budget, rather than designing air castle and then it's outside your budget. So we work it a little bit backwards that way. And where you save, there's the old saying, you know, it's much more, the deeper you get into a project, the more expensive it is to make changes. So if you plan the project in the beginning in detail, and spend a lot of time on that, you know, the risk of cost overruns or questions or variations drops significantly. So on our website, we have some cool articles and stuff. One good one is Understanding Preliminaries. So if you visit our website, there's a lot of free resources that you can access. And for renovations, some of the tools that we use, which is free resources, is I schedule an appointment for my clients at Resine Color Shop, a free color consultation with a color consultant. And we take the plans and they help them with colors. They feel, you know, they treat it like royalty, and this is free to them, and they can, you know, get professional assistance there. And also visit different flooring suppliers, look at different flooring options that's available, and there's quite a few different floor finishes available these days, and some of them are really inexpensive. And that's just two easy, no-cost steps that can add significant value to your project. Now, why I chose the the renovation market or sector specifically is, according to Stats NZ, the renovation market is currently estimated in New Zealand to be between $8 and $10 billion annually. So there's a lot of money to be made, a lot of work to be done, but there's not a lot of specialists, true specialists when it comes to renovations and extensions, complex renovations and extensions. So it's just important to choose your builder wisely. I've seen some horrific quotes in my time, because I'll, as a quantity surveyor, I can, look through a quote for a client if they'll be open to share that with me and say yay or nay. And, I walked away from jobs and said, well, yeah, it looks like a good deal. I can't beat that price. Or just last week, I pointed out some major red flags for a client and hopefully saved him a lot of money. So we use, as I quickly mentioned, we use advanced estimating and scheduling software, which gives you a very accurate price broken down to the elemental level. We assist clients with material selections. So I take them to go and shop for their vanities and taps and tiles and everything. And then we do a full set of concept plans in the beginning with 3D renders, photo quality concept designs, so they know exactly what they're going to get as if they're standing in that room. So that helps them a lot to visualize before construction begins. And that's the time where changes need to be made. So we work with a carefully selected network of trusted service providers. We've got a couple architectural designers in-house, engineers, and a bunch of vetted trade contractors, such as plumbers, electricians, tilers, everybody to deliver a turnkey project. So just be careful of thumbsuck quotes for bigger projects, and the more professional builders, we don't quote for free. So we put a lot of time, a lot of hours into it. So there is a cost, during the concept design phase. So we do charge for our time, but what you get is very, very valuable information. It's enough about us. Renovation work in New Zealand falls into two categories. It's consented and non-consented work, and that's majorly a distinction between cosmetic and structural work. So non-consented work is commonly referred to as Schedule 1 work, because under the Building Act, Schedule 1 sets out building work that can be done without the building consent, provided that it meets the building code and other conditions. So like granny flats are now, so granny flats, unconsented granny flats is all the rage now, but there's a few fish hooks that people are not aware yet that might come in later, such as getting insurance on them, and just it's a whole topic in itself. So what is Schedule 1 work? It's generally work that includes minor building alterations. So that's unconsented work defines work that can be done quickly, cheaply, and without council delays or consents also. Now, unconsented work it must not affect the structural integrity. It must not impact the weather tightness, which is part E of the building consent, so of the building code. So it's external moisture. And it must not affect any fire safety or sanitary systems, but still comply with the building code. In bathrooms, the minute you do a tiled shower, that triggers a consent. But if you do, and waterproofing, but if you do vinyl and shower liners with a shower tray, that does not affect the building consent or don't trigger building consent. You can swap a shower out for a bath or vice versa, as long as you don't add more items that require wastes. So you can't add a shower, add a bath, or add a vanity. Then internal alterations, non-structural stuff. What can you do? You can remove or alter non-load bearing walls. You can reconfigure internal spaces, and you can add or remove internal doors. But you cannot alter load-bearing walls or bracing walls. Now, not all load-bearing walls, they say, so they say you shouldn't remove a load-bearing wall. That's true. But also, if we're starting to knock walls out, you've got to look at your plans to make sure it's not a braced wall, because bracing is what keeps your house stable. So just be careful before you knock out walls that's maybe not load-bearing, but it is a braced wall. So it's be very cautious just before pulling walls out. In the kitchen and the bathroom, you can replace kitchens and vanities, replace sanitary fixtures on a like-for-like basis, and install cabinetry, shelving, and finishes on all new builds and stuff. All the flooring in laundries, bathrooms, and kitchens have to be impermeable and waterproofed. And if you just do a normal kitchen renovation, that wouldn't trigger that. The conditions are your plumbing must be carried out by a licensed plumber, and significant changes to drainage or waste systems will require building consent. Doors and windows and glazing in limited cases. So glazing, what you are not allowed to do is reduce the thermal rating of the house, the current thermal rating. You can increase it, but you can't reduce it. So you can't, if there's double glazed windows in there, you can't put single pane glass in there, for example, and other things as well. You can retrofit glazing as long as it doesn't have a lower thermal rating, but you're not allowed to enlarge openings in width. So you're not allowed to touch the lintel and supports above the windows, and you're not allowed to change lintels or structural supports without building consent. Decks, you can build decks as long as they are below 1.5 meters, and the same goes for retaining walls. Anything above 1.5 meters, you need a building consent. So yeah, that's me almost done. The key points to remember is if you are not affecting the structure of the external building envelope, there's a good chance the work can be completed without consent. However, the moment that you affect the structural elements, alter the building envelope, or make significant changes, you'll likely need a building consent. One of the, I think it's, I can't remember, I'm looking through the names now, I can't remember their name. They talked about the Tetris lino that they found. So in just a fun fact, if you undertake renovations on properties that are pre-1980s, the chances of coming across asbestos, sheet cladding, or soffit linings are almost 100%. As it was commonly used, as most of you guys may know, only in the mid-1980s restrictions were introduced, and around 1984 and 1986. So just look at the age of your home when you're renovating, because only in 2016 a complete ban came into effect. So there are there's a lot of helpful tools online, but just consider responsible disposal and associated costs if you run into renovations that you would get into contact with asbestos, and just make sure you educate yourself be going into that process. So there's a bunch of helpful tools on our website and resources, and also insurance responsibilities. You'll find all that on our website. We also have a build plan checklist and just a bunch of other stuff that would hopefully help you. You can access that for free.